Hello dear student, today we are going to discuss about a new topic that is autocoid. So in previous classes I have finished off the drugs which generally acting on autonomic nervous system. Today we are going to study the drugs which are mostly act on central nervous system or CNS. In that different drugs are there in which different classifications are of drugs are present which are generally acts on central nervous system or CNS. Today we are going to discuss about some same type of drugs or classification that generally acts on CNS. Today's topic is autocoid, that is also one type of or one classes of drugs which generally acts on central nervous system. So let's go to intro the today's video, that is autocoid. So first of all you have to know that what is the mean of autocoid. From that name only you can understand that name is consists of two words, one is auto and another one is coids. That auto means, from name only you can understand, auto means self. That means auto by itself or by self it can show its action, and coids mean heal or remedy. That means autocoids are the chemicals or other drugs which generally act or show their action by its own. Generally they help in healing process or tissue repairing process by itself, by secreting or by generating some chemicals that are also called as hormones that secreted into a local parts and show their action into a local area. That's why autocoids are also called as local hormones. So what are autocoids? Autocoids are the local hormone secreted from a local part of our body, and so its different physiological action, especially in inflammation and in tissue heal or repair response system. So what are autocoids? Autocoids are the self-healing local hormones which are produced from a local area of our body and show its action locally on central nervous system and perform many physiological action of our body, especially in case of inflammation, mood regulation, tissue or cell healing or immune system of our body, and other repaired related response system is controlled by autocoids. So these are the simple autocoids. Now we'll go to the classification of autocoids. So now we have to study about class. I have told you autocoids are the self-healed local hormones which show this different physiological action, especially in immune system and in tissue healing or repair response system, and also any others function related to central nervous system. Now we are going through the classification of autocoids. According to the type of their molecules, autocoids can be classified into three parts. One class is autocoids that are derived from amino acid, or that is also called amino derived. So from that, the classification first one is amino derived autocoids. In that, examples are histamine and serotonin. That serotonin is also called as 5-hydroxytryptamine. Classification of autocoid is peptide autocoids. In that peptide derived autocoids, classifications are, or examples of some peptide derived autocoids are angiotensin, and bradykinin. Third classification of autocoids are lipid derived. In lipid derived, mainly the autocoids are prostaglandins, interleukins, leukotrienes, etc. These are the mainly autocoids which generally act on our body in different physiological system, especially in self-healing or inflammation process. So what are the classification of autocoids, from which that autocoids belongs to? According to that is classified into three parts. First one is amino derived autocoids. In that examples are histamine and serotonin. That serotonin also called as 5-hydroxytryptamine. The second classification of autocoid is peptide derived autocoids. Examples are angiotensin and bradykinin. And third type of classification is lipid derived autocoid. Example are prostaglandins, interleukins, and leukotrienes. So by that I finish off the classification of autocoid. Now we have to study about what are the in general functions or physiological actions of different autocoids that are present into our body. So let's go through that general functions of autocoid. So here we will study in general action. Later we will discuss about different separate autocoids like histamine separately, then serotonin separately, bradykinin separately, about their synthesis, where they are present, what are their individuals action, etc. But now we will discuss in general functions of autocoid, that includes all the autocoids that are present into our body. What are that? First one is regulate blood flow. How they generally regulate the blood flow? By constrict or by dilate blood vessels. So by constrict the blood vessel, they generally decrease the amount of blood flow, and by dilating the blood vessel, they increases the flow of blood flow. So indirectly they regulates the blood flow by constricting or by dilating or by dilation of the blood vessels that are present in our body. The second is inflammation responses. In that generally prostaglandins are there, leukotrienes are there, interleukins are there. These are the autocoids that generally generate or that generally control the inflammation process of our body. Example is prostaglandin, leukotrienes, and interleukins. Then some of the autocoids generally show different allergic reactions. By that they generally indicate any serious condition that is present in our body by showing all these allergic or hypersensitivity reaction. Example is histamine. Then some autocoids are also helps indirectly to show our emotions. So emotion or mood control or mood regulation. Example is 5-hydroxytryptamine, that is also called as serotonin. So the action is regulating blood flow by constricting or by dilating the blood vessels present into our body, then controlling inflammation responses generally by prostaglandins, leukotrienes, and interleukins. Then different allergic condition to show that our body is suffering from any serious disease. It is can be showed by creating different allergic reaction. In general, histamine generally show their action in allergic reactions. And then example is 5-hydroxytryptamine and serotonin. What is its function? It generally control the emotion or mood of our body. So to control the emotion and mood of our body, autocoids also playing a important role, especially 5-hydroxytryptamine, that is also called as serotonin. And in some cases, to do the immune system by showing different inflammatory action or different allergic action, also they showed their function indirectly by the different autocoids like prostaglandin, leukotrienes, interleukin, histamine, 5-hydroxy, tryptamine, etc. And some of the drugs show their, some of the autocoids also show their action by controlling the tissue repair responses. So what are the general functions of autocoids? Regulating blood pressure, showing inflammatory responses, showing different allergic reaction, showing emotion or controlling mood of our physic or of our psychic. Then some autocoids are also controlling the immune system of our body, and some autocoids helps in tissue repair or tissue recovery system. So these are the general functions of autocoids. So today in next slide I am going to discuss about the individual of autocoids in just one line. In next classes we will discuss in deep. So first example is histamine. In classification only I have told you that histamine is a amino derived autocoids. Now we have to study where that histamine generally secrete from our body. It can be secreted from the mast cells, or it also can be secreted from some non-mast cells. In mast cells, what are the examples? In mast cells that can be secreted in skin, they can be secreted from the gastrointestinal tract. They also can be secreted by the pulmonary tissues. So these are including mast cells which generally release or secrete histamine. Mast cell examples from where that histamine generally secreted from, that is central nervous system, then basophils. So from where that generally histamine is secreted from, first one is mast cells, example is skin, GIT, pulmonary tissues, skeletal muscle example, and from non-mast tissues like tissues present in CNS or central nervous system, blood component especially basophils, that was the place from where generally histamine is secreted from. And that histamine generally involves in different type of physiological action, especially allergic reaction. So they are generally involved in different physiological action, especially allergic reaction. Then also different are vasodilation, inflammation, mood regulation, mainly showed different allergic condition in our body that generally controlled by histamine. Then also vasodilation, it can be caused by histamine, and inflammation, that also can be controlled by histamine, and in some cases mood also regulated by the histamine. So that are the general physiological action of histamine. Next we will discuss about the area from where serotonin generally excreted from, and so its different function, and we will discuss about that function also. So the next example is serotonin. The serotonin is also called as 5-hydroxytryptamine because it is also an example of amino derived autocoids that generally secreted from or synthesized from amino acid that is called as tryptamine amino acid, and that is called as 5-hydroxytryptamine or 5-HT. In short, it is known as serotonin. So that is also an important example of autocoids. This autocoid involves in the action involved in the action of vasoconstriction, then GIT motility, by controlling GIT motility it can show vomiting, it helps in vomiting. Then controlling CNS, by it can show nausea. Then also it helps in regulating in different mood or emotions expression, like very happy or in depression. That all moods are also can be controlled by serotonin. So what are the example or what are the general function of serotonin? Main is mood regulation. By that it can show the happiness or depression of our emotions. Then it can also help in vasoconstriction and controlling blood flow. Then it can control GIT motility and show vomiting sensation. Then it also can control CNS or central nervous system and can cause nausea. And then also it can do blood clotting by platelet factors. So what are the function of serotonin? Mood, emotion control like happiness and depression, vasoconstriction and do blood flow regulation, GIT motility by it shows vomiting, CNS sensation like nausea. Then it also helps in blood clotting by promoting platelet aggregating factors. So these are the common functions of serotonin. But I have forgot to tell you about their or about the main area of secretion from where that serotonin generally secreted. 90% of serotonin is secreted from metachormorphin cells of our gut canal. So from where generally serotonin secreted from, 90% of secreted serotonin in our body generally generates or secreted from metachormorphin cells of gut canal in our body. So these are the area from where 90% of serotonin generally secreted from. Now we are going to discuss about the third type of autocoids, that is prostaglandins. That is the most important autocoids of our body. It is generally a lipid derived autocoid. And that prostaglandin amongst all autocoids act as our main autocoids in our body and regulate different physiological action that I am going to discuss. Now from where that prostaglandin secreted from or generated from, that only we have to now remember. The first thing from where prostaglandin secret is mostly from all the cells, mostly from all the cells or tissues of our body, that include stomach, GIT, then uterus, lungs, etc. So prostaglandin is most important autocoid in our body that control most of the physiological action in our body. So that is the most important autocoid, that is generally lipid derived autocoids. It is generally secreted from most of the cells or tissues present in our body, especially from stomach, GIT, uterus, lungs, etc. So these are the common area from where generally prostaglandin is secreted from. Now we are going to discuss about the in general function that is generally controlled or performed by prostaglandins in our body. The first one is regulating blood flow. Regulating blood flow. Then control inflammation. In that inflammation, leukotrienes, interleukins, cytokinins, bradykinins also helps in prostaglandin to show or control the inflammation process in our body. It also promotes blood clotting. How it do blood clotting? By activating platelet aggregating factor. It also can control the emotions or mood of our body like depression, be supremely happy. All that also emotions also can be controlled by prostaglandins, but in general it is generally controlled by 5-hydroxytryptamine or serotonin that I have discussed in previous slide. Then that prostaglandin also helps in reproductive units or reproductive tissues of our body, especially in uterus, to show menstruation cycle in the timely period. So in reproductive system also prostaglandin helps in showing menstruation and do uterus constriction during pregnancy or the delivery or labor of a pregnant woman. And it also regulates immune system and control tissue repair responses. So these are the common and most function that is generally controlled by prostaglandin. What are they? Controlling blood flow, then controlling inflammation, then promoting blood clotting by aggregating or activating platelet aggregation factors, then showing or regulating emotions or mood like depression, supremely happiness, etc. That also help in reproductive organs during reproductive time. Example, in controlling menstruation cycle of a woman, then also in doing uterine constriction during labor or baby delivery of a pregnant woman. And prostaglandin also helps in regulating immunity response to show their action against the tissue repair response system. So prostaglandin also helps in regulating tissue repair responses. So these are the common physiological action that is showed by prostaglandin. So by that, today I have discussed about the autocoids. What are the definitions of autocoids? What are the classification of autocoid? Then we have discussed about the different examples of autocoids. Then in shorts we have discussed about the different area of secretion and in general functions of serotonin, histamine, prostaglandin, etc. today in that class. From next class we are going to discuss about the individual autocoids like histamine, prostaglandins, serotonin into the upcoming classes. And for the next class we will discuss about the topic of autocoids in details individually. And the next class topic about autocoid will be histamine. In that we will include what are the autocoids involved in histamine secretion, what are the areas, what are the types of histamines, what are the different receptor helps histamine to show its different action, what are the drugs that generally act on histamine or all other drugs what are generally act against histamine, and what are the physiological action of histamine, what are the drugs that generally act on histamine, about their pharmacodynamic, pharmacokinetics and adverse drug reaction. Into the next class, like that I will also discuss about serotonin and the prostaglandin into the upcoming classes. For today it's enough. From our tomorrow and for the next topic is histamine that I am going to discuss into the upcoming class. Thank you.